Naz Shah, the Labour MP for Bradford West, has stepped down from her role as a parliamentary aide to the Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell after controversial Facebook comments about Israel were unearthed. Ms Shah has also apologised over the Facebook post from 2014 in which she called for Israel to be relocated to the USA. In August 2014, Naz Shah shared a graphic showing Israel's outline superimposed onto a map of the US with the comment, "Problem solved." And the following month, she shared an image of Martin Luther King with the words, "Never forget that everything Hitler did in Germany was legal," and the hashtag Apartheid Israel. Yesterday, the Bradford West MP, who was elected in May 2015, resigned from her position as Parliamentary Private Secretary to Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell. In a statement yesterday, Ms Shah said, "This post from 2 years ago was made before I was an MP. Doesn't reflect my views and I apologise for any offence it has caused. I made these posts at the height of the Gaza conflict in 2014 when emotions were running high around the Middle East conflict." Well, we asked Naz Shah for an interview, but she declined. We also contacted John McDonnell's office. They referred us to the statement he made yesterday, saying he had accepted Ms Shah's resignation as his parliamentary aide. Lisa, Nandy, why has the whip not been withdrawn from Naz Shah?
Well, my understanding from speaking to the Leader's office this morning is that Jeremy has called Naz in to hold her to account for the comments that she made, some of which she just posted there. I think that's the right thing to do.
Holding to account, but do you expect her to be suspended, have the whip withdrawn?
What I was going to say to you, Joe, is that we have a policy in the Labour Party that people who make anti-Semitic remarks are suspended and an investigation is carried out. Now, I don't want to preempt the outcome of the conversation that Jeremy is about to have with her, but I have made clear to the Leader's office my view that that policy ought to be followed without exception. And
you would say quite clearly that those are anti-Semitic remarks. Never forget that everything Hitler did in Germany was legal with the hashtag Apartheid Israel.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard views from the Jewish community today, many of whom find those remarks deeply offensive.
Do you not find
hurtful.
them offensive?
I do, and I think it was absolutely wrong to share those posts on social media, and I think she was absolutely right to resign and to apologise unreservedly.
But resigning as an aide is not the same as actually being suspended from the party. I mean, the party has suspended other people for saying very similar things, so why are they not using that zero-tolerance approach with an MP?
Yes, well, I agree with you, and I made that view clear to the Leader's office this morning. I think, as Louise Ellman, one of the most high-profile Jewish MPs, said in the media this weekend, the vast majority of members of the Labour Party are not anti-Semitic and abhor these sort of views, and it's really, really important that we make that clear to the country and give the Jewish community and the rest of the country the confidence that we take it seriously.
Right. I mean, Lisa, Nandy, this is a statement that has come from the Labour Party. What Naz Shah did was offensive and unacceptable. I have spoken to her and made this clear. Presumably this is Jeremy Corbyn or John McDonnell. These are historic social media posts made before she was a member of Parliament. Naz has issued a fulsome apology. She does not hold these views and accepts she was completely wrong to have made these posts. The Labour Party is implacably opposed to anti-Semitism and all forms of racism. That doesn't look like she's going to have the whip withdrawn.
Well, all I can tell you, Joe, is when I spoke to the Leader's office this morning, they said that she was being called in to see Jeremy personally and that he was handling this personally, which is right, as the leader of the Labour Party.
Do you think she should have the whip withdrawn?
I've made clear my view on that to the Leader's office, that we should suspend anybody who makes anti-Semitic remarks in line with our policy and investigate. Now, I don't want to preempt the outcome of an investigation because, this morning she apologised. Her local synagogue came out in support of it. I think it's right that we look at the circumstances around what's happened, but I think our policy is absolutely clear that we suspend people and then we investigate.
Because if the party doesn't move swiftly to deal with this, or certainly in the same way as they have with other people, and they say they're implacably opposed to anti-Semitism, it will leave the impression, won't it, that they don't actually follow through on an issue that they say they're against.
Yes, I think that's right, and I think there is a real problem for the Labour Party if we don't look like we're taking these things seriously. But what I would also say is it's not just about the impact on the Labour Party. There is also a question here about what is the right thing to do, and the right thing to do is to do a full investigation and make sure that we don't tolerate anti-Semitism in our party at all.
Right. I mean, you have said that she's apologised for these posts, and she has clearly done so, and she says that's not her view. But it clearly is what she thinks, otherwise she wouldn't have shared those posts. You could argue she's just been rumbled.
Well, I mean, I can't get into saying what somebody really thinks or doesn't really think.
But she obviously did think it at the time,
I think the apology was absolutely right. I think it was wrong to share those posts, and I think they were very offensive. But the question is what happens next. And the key thing is that there must be an investigation. We have to make sure that we're not just saying that we're opposed to anti-Semitism, but we're actually acting on that as well.
Because the Shadow Chancellor said in a recent article in The Independent, out, out, out. That's how people with anti-Jewish views are dealt with. If people express these views, full stop, they're out. And I'm taking a harder line, he says, on this than the leadership so far, because people might say I've changed my views, will do something in another organisation. So he doesn't actually believe people do change their views on issues like this.
No, I mean, he actually said in that interview that people who make anti-Semitic remarks should be excluded from the Labour Party for life. Which is further than our stated policy.
Do you agree with him?
I don't know whether I agree that people should be excluded for life, because I think you have to give people a chance to say sorry and change and amend for what they've done. But what I would say is that there has to be a suspension and an investigation when something like this occurs, because it is so serious and it does have such a knock-on effect on people outside of Parliament in the real world.